So my friend Brady here has generated how much?
Around $2.3 million in the last 20 months.
$2.3 million. And in this video, we're basically going to share exactly how he did it, how he went from zero, how he went to his first 100K a month, and he was able to scale even beyond then. So what was your record month?
My record month was around $430,000.
Got it. Okay, so my first question to you is, how did you get started? Like, how did you get the proof of concept, the first proof of concept with the business?
Yeah, so I had a content offer before this, and I'm sure you've probably, if you're in the space, you've probably seen people like make offers on how to make content. And eventually somebody came down my funnel and I saw the opportunity to create an offer that essentially worked really well in the market. So I think the first thing that we could probably talk about here is offer, right? So my offer is basically Growth Operator, right? We run growthoperator.com, and basically what we do is, instead of being an agency owner, freelancer, or sales rep, struggling to get clients, balancing multiple clients, and not using your skill set to its max potential, we essentially took that and had people partner with creators, and they launch offers and they make way more money, right? And this is a massive demand in the market because of school and then Alex Hormozi coming to the platform. So I found this market demand, and that's what allowed us to essentially shoot our offer into the sky. Yeah.
So when you had the first idea for the offer, what did it take to go from idea to proof of concept, that first customer?
Yeah, so I essentially just started by working on the product, and then I just started whispering it out into the market. So I was working with my creator at the time, and basically he would make content and I would call him and I would be like, use this angle or try this, right? Similar to when I work with Kieran, he's like, why don't we just try this mechanism or try this angle, right? When I try these different angles, sometimes they hit better in the market than others. And then I kind of optimize the entire business around the angles that worked in the market.
And if we get super specific, so, I mean, how did you acquire customers, first of all, so the audience knows?
Yeah, so at first, my strategy was completely organic, with the exception to a few retargeting ads.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for POC, what's the biggest thing that someone watching this who has a coaching business, who is selling a course potentially, that they should do to get that first customer? I know you just touched on it, but if you just give like 3 steps to do that, what would they be?
The first customer, like they have no business.
No business, they're starting from the ground up and they're trying to get their first customer.
Yeah, so if you have like knowledge or expertise and you're looking to get into business and you're trying to create like a high ticket business, I think the first proof of concept you should do is try to find the first like 5 clients, and don't build anything in your business unless you're just focusing on them, like really like one-on-one. Essentially, because like the client that actually like truly, like I swear, we ran our offer and sold it at a coaching price for like 5K for a long time, but I didn't learn anything from that until I put my hands in the dirt with this one client. And then this one client literally changed my business, because I was like, yo, what do you think about this? And he was like, yeah, like I really want to partner with creators and help them sell info products. So basically what I did, I was like, wait a minute, that's a really good idea. So I took this guy, and then I had another creator inside of my business that had 2.5 million followers. I paired them up and they made 30K a month. And what I realized from that, when it comes to proof of concept, is you have to have something that works. You can't sling an offer that doesn't fucking work. So that's what I learned from that, and that's what allowed us to shoot up to, we went from literally 30K a month to 50K a month, really struggling, and everything was super hard. And then we bounced straight up to 180K a month the next month after that.
Yeah, I want to touch on this because this is what I see in the market happening a lot. So what will happen is people will go out and actually build the product, the actual product. They'll go and record the course modules. They'll go and build the infrastructure before selling a single customer. And the thing is, you might have an idea, you might have a vision of how the product's going to be, but ultimately all that matters is, what is the market? Like, what does the market actually want? So like Brady mentioned, was sell the first 5 customers first. And as you don't have anything built out, which is why I put sell before building, because what you're going to be able to do is work with these customers and figure out what are like the 5 to 7 things that if you can provide them, they will get immediate value in the market of what you're teaching. And then if you provide value to them, and if you're able to solve their problem, the likelihood is there's going to be a whole market that you'll be able to serve. But the only way you figure that out, even if you've been in your industry for years and you're just starting to release a coaching business, I just highly recommend selling before building. Use your expertise to get the first 5 customers in, work with them closely, and build out that infrastructure after you've done that. Does that make sense?
100%. I also think that you shouldn't be worried about building any course material, because I made the same mistake Kieran was talking about, where I made a really big course because I had a really big heart. Right? I'm one of those people. And I was like, these people are going to love this. And they didn't. Right? And it's not that they didn't love the course. I actually created a headache for myself, because in the course I gave them a ton of homework and they're constantly nagging me. And it was the people that didn't go through the course in the beginning that actually got the best results. I just helped them one-on-one with my mouth.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's your best teacher. And then after I got on many, many group calls and I did like hundreds of onboarding calls before I created my actual material. And then that's where I was able to finally come up with these crystal clear ideas on exactly what to do with my course material.
Because I want to say that as a coach, your job is to make it as simple as possible for the customer to get results. But the only way you're going to do that is by working one-on-one with the customers first before you actually go and build that out. Because it's impossible to just assume what the market wants, build it out, and it'd be perfect first time. It's never going to happen. What needs to happen is you work with enough customers to then understand and have the realization of what they actually need, because it's always going to be a couple layers deeper than you think. Yeah. So what I want to talk about next is your first 100K month. So we're just bouncing right away from POC to how you scaled this to 100K a month, basically from zero. So there's a lot obviously to unpack in getting to 100K a month. You know, you're starting from zero going to 100K a month. But again, I want to talk about what were the main things that you did. How long did it take you, by the way, to get there?
Once I had product market fit, like that's kind of what I want to go in this is like a small tangent here. When I had my content business that I was working with this creator, he had a content offer, right? And it was helping people create content to sell an offer. But the types of people we were selling were not, like, that wasn't the right offer for them at the time. But what really got us to jump to, we didn't hit 100K a month like everyone fantasizes about. We went from 30 to 50 to 180, right? So we almost doubled the fanatization of what revenue you're supposed to be at. So I don't think you should obsess too much over 100K a month. What you should honestly obsess over is, I know we've already talked about it a little bit, but product market fit. Because when you have product market fit, right, you realize that it makes it easier for the entire business. And most people don't know what this feels like. Product market fit is when marketing feels like cutting through the market with you have a hot knife cutting through butter, right? Same with sales. The sales calls are easier. The fulfillment is easier. And the first place you see product market fit is within the product, right? Like as soon as I found this new mechanism, this new way to teach people, instantly everyone else, my entire client base, I convinced them to do it and they all got results instantly. And that's why the offer shot up so quick. And then everything was so much easier. A lot of you watching this video probably have an offer that just isn't that good. And people don't really want it because of another reason or the third, right? And you just have to find an offer that everyone resonates with and they really want to do. And then you actually shoot up and people get you want people to get shiny object syndrome thinking about your offer at night when they're laying in bed. Because if you don't have an offer like that, you're not going to make money.
Yeah. So I want to really visualize this. So basically you're taking someone from current situation, and there's the way, in my mind, you can let me know, but the way you find product market fit is when you really have a 5 to 7 step process. It can maybe be sections of modules of a course that they go through to go from current situation to dream outcome.
Yeah.
And it's so clear, it's almost black and white, that if they follow these 5 steps, and the 5 steps, by the way, are going to be sections of your course or sections of your coaching material that takes them from current situation to dream outcome almost every single time, as long as they follow the process. Would you say that makes sense? That's kind of what product market fit looks like?
100%, because our pitch before with the content offer is instead of just pitching people, we were okay, So do you want to show, one of our qualifications are like, do you want to show your face? Like we don't have that problem anymore, obviously. So what's really sexy, like when you have a good offer, it's really sexy, right? It's extremely sexy when you give someone a 3-pillar pitch. Like for example, we use 3 pillars. I think it could be anywhere from 3 to 5, so don't get it all confused with what he said, right? But our 3-pillar pitch is we're going to help you get a creator, right? A content creator that has a massive audience, and you could partner with this awesome content creator, right? And then once you partner with this content creator that has not monetized their audience yet, we're going to help you put together a launch strategy to instantly make money. So there's that appeal already of we're going to help you. So in the agency space, it's really hard to get clients already, right? So I solved the first problem most of those people have. I'm servicing agency owners, sales reps, and freelancers. The first really big problem is getting a client. And I solved that by telling them to go after a content creator and don't charge them any money up front. Don't charge them $5,000 a month or anything like that. Literally work with them for free and take a small percentage, right? And then number 2 is with their untapped audience, right? You're essentially just grabbing traffic in that sense. And then with their untapped audience on the launch section, I'm telling them that they can make anywhere from 10 to 30K instantly. And then the third one is retention. I'm gonna help you build and scale a very consistent business that brings you in money every single month. And with school.com, right, you can create a community for the creator's audience and charge $50, $100 a month, and that's recurring revenue in these people's brain. That pitch right there, if you're watching this video, might even make you salivate and like, oh, like my thing actually sucks. I actually want to go do that. That's what makes a really good offer. It's the salivation. It's like it's not the value stacks or the guarantees or anything like that. It's the actual fundamental thing that you're doing for people is what creates the good offer, in my personal opinion.
Got it. So basically what we've covered so far is essentially offer. It's how you make a great offer that has product market fit, that can take someone from current situation to desired outcome with 5, could be 3 steps, really depends on your offer, but it takes them to that dream outcome. I want to talk about, because you mentioned you went from 30 to 50K a month to like 180, like overnight basically. And I want to talk about that. What was your traffic source to do that?
Yeah, so our traffic source was, we actually just did organic Instagram Reels at the time. And believe it or not, the traffic was the same from 30 to 180. Like all the months we did 30 to 50, we actually had more traffic sometimes than when we were printing. Like to be completely honest, like we didn't really even scale traffic or anything like that. We already had existing traffic, but the offer was just trash. And that's what caused us to jump so hard.
So obviously you had kind of a unique situation because you had a big personal brand, and that really helped you. If someone's watching this, they don't have a personal brand, would you recommend them build a personal brand? How would you recommend? What traffic source would you recommend for them to get to 100K a month? If once they get kind of POC from here, and they're at this point where they're making money, maybe 20, 30,000 a month, you know?
Yeah, I think now my perspective has changed because with organic, it dies off pretty fast. So if I were to start all over again, which I actually am working on right now, with my personal brand, is like I'm starting from 0 and I'm actually just starting with paid ads. And from what I see right now, all that matters with paid ads is actually the offer. And then once you can get the sales mechanism down, you can scale it. And then you can probably scale. And then you have control over the traffic you scale, and then you just watch LTV to CAC.
Yeah. So paid traffic, can you walk into a little bit through like what you're planning on doing with paid traffic?
Yeah, so my current plan, so I've done the webinars, right? I've done webinars for the longest time. I've tried free trial funnels. I've tried product low ticket funnels. I've tried back-end funnels. I've tried DM funnels. I've tried all this bullshit. And from what I've seen across the entire market, call funnels are the most consistent thing ever in the world. And it just makes your sanity just calm down, right? So what I'm really excited to do over the next few months is I'm working on a call funnel, right, on cold traffic. And all we plan on doing is literally, because I think I've yapped about the offer so much, you can probably tell that I really like offers and product. That's like the only thing I care about. Like that's my bread and butter, right? And with a call funnel, you don't have to use any fancy direct response marketing tactics, right? You just rely on the offer. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about the call funnels is because if you're actually a competent business owner, if you're actually a competent coach or a competent consultant or a competent agency owner, you should only rely on the offer. You shouldn't have to create these bullshit low ticket funnels and direct response Dan Kennedy ball sack kind of funnels. You just actually focus on the offer.
Yeah. So just to touch on the cool funnel, I want to talk about this so it makes sense to everyone. So cool funnel is where you're launching an ad and you're making a direct offer. So it's what we talked about. Once you have product market fit with the offer, with the first batch of people you test with, you can then make a direct offer on paid traffic. You can make a direct offer of what you do, and naturally you're going to get people coming through to your funnel. Now, in your funnel, you're going to be getting people to book a call, right? So it's very simple, like a VSL, get someone to book a call. And then what it really comes down to, and what I would say is really important, not only that with just getting traffic, but that fits into traffic, is also understanding how to sell your offer. So this is probably what you're starting to realize now, right? With being able to, how important sales is, with being able to scale on paid traffic.
100%.
So also on top of that, right, you're going to be selling a high ticket offer. So what was your offer? How much was your price point?
So my price point used to be $2,800, and because we're using cold traffic now, and that's the beauty of cold traffic as well, running paid ads. With organic, like you just get a bunch of shit all the time, applications wise. Mm-hmm. And with cold traffic, you have full control over the quality. So our price point is going to be $5,800 moving forward.
Got it. So I really want to nail this in because I see so many people fuck this up getting to 100K a month. All that you need, in my opinion, anyway, from what I've seen from the people who've scaled past 7 figures, 8 figures, is a cool funnel. You're selling a high ticket offer. So if you're a coach, you probably already, your offers will probably be high ticket. If you're not selling high ticket, you're selling some $50 a month membership. That's cool, but not going to get you to 100K a month. What's going to get you to 100K a month is a high ticket offer. Okay, at least consistently. On top of that, you're going to need to learn sales. So you're going to need to learn how to pitch your offer. And what happens is that a lot of coaches I've seen, what they'll do is they'll just hire a closer right away. So they'll hire a closer to sell for them, and that's a big mistake because what happens is that if you can't even sell your own offer on paid traffic, what ends up happening is you have no kind of room to be hiring a closer because as a founder, as someone who's passionate about what they sell, about their product, you're always going to sell better than any closer, okay? After you start making a few sales through paid traffic and you learn the basics of sales, you can sell your offer, then bring in the closer by all means. But at the beginning, just to hammer it home, sell your own offer. So launch a cool funnel, have a basic VSL, direct offer, straight to cool, where you're selling a high ticket offer and you're using sales tools to sell it. Would you agree with that?
100%.
Everyone? Cool. And then the next thing I'll talk about is really to scale to 100K a month. It's just having basic fulfillment down. Again, at this level, you don't need any crazy fulfillment. I mean, when did you really start building out your program? What level were you at? Would you say?
So the first version of my program was, for the Growth Operator program, was a little bit after we started getting some sales because I had a unique partnership situation where I could focus on the product a little bit more. And over 9 months, I probably made 3 or 4 iterations. And now I'm on iteration 5, where it's a massive 40 video course. And it actually resonates with the person because I've coached so many clients. I think you just want to get to a point where you've coached so many people where you could coach it in your sleep and they'd still get results.
Yeah, 100%. Now, on top of that, so what we were going to focus on as well is that a lot of coaches, what ends up happening is they get so caught up on actually coaching themselves. And if you want to get to 100K a month, really, once you have proof of concept and a validated offer, all you need to do is just be able to sell. And just be able to sell and have a high ticket offer. The program doesn't need to be extensive yet, but once you do start selling, once you do start getting to 100K a month and you do start expanding and getting some cash coming in, then that's when I would recommend bringing in another coach, someone who can coach alongside you, so then you can put your attention on different sides of the business. Now, that really comes down to what you do best in the business. Some coaches I know are incredible at sales and that's what they should just focus on, and they're good at managing the sales team for their own product. They're good at the marketing or they're good at the fulfillment. It seemed like you were the best at fulfillment and you didn't actually hire too many coaches early on.
I had, I believe, I think 3 to 5 coaches at any given time. Now we have around 5. And I put all of my time on making videos in the product because I realized that there's 4 types of leverage. There's capital, collaboration, code, and media, right? And I realized that media was basically the scalable asset that makes selling courses. And because coaching and consulting is essentially just selling a really expensive course once it's built out. and people could just go through it, and it's like an automated machine where you have this marketing and sales machine, and you pass people through it, and you don't even have to see them, because unless you're on calls like once a week, you don't see them, and they just go through this machine that you've iterated over time. And I think that's the beauty of the entire thing. It's like having this almost assembly line of videos that people go through and get a result out of right after.
Got it. So just to summarize so far, so we have POC, which really how you gain POC, proof of concept, is sell before building. 0 to 100K, 100K a month is product market fit and traffic. So traffic, you can do organically, you can do paid traffic. We recommend paid traffic using a cool funnel, and you have the sales, and you have the coaches, and you have everything that's really going to get you to 100K a month. So really, to get to 100K a month, you just have to, really your attention goes towards traffic, which is why I recommend paid traffic, because it can be automated. You don't have to constantly be posting content and hoping that people book calls. That's one thing that can take away a ton of time from the business, as you've probably seen. But then if you do paid traffic, that's kind of handled for you, okay? Then you just gotta learn sales and actually how to, in the back end, how to fulfill the product as well, which, on the way to 100K a month, it's likely you'll probably hire another coach who can support you with the fulfillment on the way. So I wanna talk about once you're at 100K a month. So when you guys got to 100K a month, your biggest month you said was 400, right? What was the biggest, were there any differences from going to 100 to 400? What did you do differently?
Yeah, so the difference was a massive headache in the support tickets. pretty much is like the biggest difference. I probably answered like 400 support tickets by myself. But on a more serious note, the one mistake I kind of want to talk about, just like the mistake I made, is to go from 100 to 1 million a month. I kind of see it now as team, and I wasn't the right type of person to hire a really good team. And I'm going to be completely honest. I went from 180 to 270 to 430, back to 270 to 180, down to 100, because I went like that simply, and then back down because I didn't have a team to sustain the growth. And honestly, to answer your question, nothing changed. All we did was add more traffic, and we just doubled down on our traffic channels and started running some retargeting ads. And that's what got us to 430K a month. And I don't honestly think we would have sustained, even if we got to 1 million a month, we wouldn't have been able to sustain it for more than like 30 seconds. So I definitely think it's all about team after that phase.
In many cases, if you're just running paid traffic, I would say obviously to 100K, we really focus on sales, high ticket. That's also where the actual product, the fulfillment, building out the product, having the coaches gets really important when you're going from about 100K to, I want to say, about 500K a month. Because once you're at 100K a month, you've proven, by that point, you'll have a traffic system which is consistent, or at least you'll have a traffic system that works, okay? You're going to be able to sell, like you're doing 100K a month. So you'll know how to sell your offer. And you'll probably have a decent back end. Maybe you'll have a coach. Maybe you'll have fulfillment. And that, like Brady says, at that point, when you start to scale to 500K, it's pretty much doing the exact same thing, but it's about delegating certain people in different roles. So by that point, you'll definitely have a closer. By that point, you're going to probably, if you're a coach, you'll probably be putting more attention into actually the product, into having other coaches as well, so you aren't completely detached to the fulfillment of your product. And then traffic, also really doubling down on that, thinking how can I increase ad spend? How can I spend more so I can continue to scale? I've seen from 100 to 500K a month, it's practically the same thing. You're just doing it at a bigger scale and starting to implement like tactical people. So for example, at 100 to 500K a month, on the sales side, you might bring in a sales manager, someone who takes away completely from managing your sales team and the people who are going to be selling for you on the front line, so you can put more time into fulfillment. You might have someone who is a fulfillment manager for the coaching program. It really depends on where your expertise lies, if you're more of a marketer or someone who actually fulfills your product. But either one, you'll start putting more attention into either one. The other one, you'll probably start to bring in an almost like COO type who will take away the rest of that from you, so they can focus on a specific part of the business. And then it's really about doubling up on that. So most of the time, from 100K to 500K, once you've done more sales, you've got that dialed in, the back end solid, you can fulfill, you're not churning loads of clients, you're not selling a terrible product, then it's really about increasing traffic. It's about spending more with everything else in place to be profitable and get to 500K a month. But once you're at 500K a month, what is your plan to get to $1 million a month? I mean, I imagine you probably have, I mean, you'd like to get there eventually. Based on you being at 400K a month and you kind of knowing what it's like at that level, what do you think you'll do now when you're back there and you'll scale back to $1 million a month?
So I'll give some whiteboard sauce because I think Kieran's giving some crazy stuff. So like, super awesome. So basically, this is actually what Kieran taught me on a Zoom call. One day I was like, Kieran, I think my business is all messed up. Like I have no idea what I'm doing with this whole thing to get to $1 million a month. And he was like, basically you got to put together an org chart. And basically what that looks like for me is I'm at the top of the org chart and I kind of just make all the decisions. I'm the strategic leader, right? And I think it's important to realize that sometimes you might have a little bit of overlap in your org chart. You don't assign people to that org chart. You assign roles to that org chart, right? What do these people do? So right here you have strategic leader. This is the person at the top of the business that leads the ship. You can almost imagine that it actually is a ship that you're moving here, and then there's someone legitimately at the top overseeing the clouds, etc. And then you have somebody who just rapidly implements, right? So for example, I have a COO, right? His name is Kyle. We all love Kyle, and Kyle basically implements everything, and he manages the sale. Right now, he manages the sales team and the fulfillment team. But eventually, there will be managers under Kyle. So kind of how I see this is you really only have two under here at scale, in my opinion, right? Because you kind of want to take on most of the marketing. Well, I guess there's three. Where'd the eraser go? Yeah, there's more or less three for the org chart, right? So then you have the marketing team. You have a sales team, basically, and then you have like a fulfillment team. And then below here, over here, there's like CSMs. And then over here on the sales end, there's sales reps. And then over here, I believe there is like copywriters. Mm-hmm. You might have like one copywriter or one media buyer, but this is pretty much what it looks like at scale. It's like this person has a direct report to this like I only have a direct report to Kyle, and then he reports to this person, and then this person, and this person. And I think this, and then obviously the managers oversee these guys. And then these people right here are infinite, right? Well, you have to keep hiring more and more and more sales reps to get to scale. So it's going to look like 50 people down here, or 50 people down. No, I'm just kidding. Not 50 CSMs. But like, this is ultimately how I see it in my head. And I didn't have it structured like that before. At first, I was just a genius with 1,000 hands trying to figure everything out and get everything situated. But now I'm more or less kind of just like overseeing the ship and things are getting done, etc.
Yeah, every single coaching business that's got to $1 million a month understands this. You have to have the team in place to do it. You're not going to do it on your own. It's basically impossible to get to $1 million a month consistently on your own. You may get there somehow, some way on your own, but really it comes down to team. And especially these people under here, because these people are what are actually going to drive the business forward. When you get to a strategic leader, so the kind of the person at the top being you in the company, what it really comes down to, and what I've seen the best coaches do who are at $1 million a month plus, is they spend most of their time just making the product better. Because by this point, you should have the sales data. You should have a sales manager. You should have someone who can sell and manage the team for you, so that's locked in. The marketing, pretty simple. Like that's also should be pretty much locked in. I've seen some people who are past $1 million a month doing their own marketing. You can do that. But then also a product, that's the thing that's gonna make your coaching business outlast. Because I see a lot of people get to $1 million a month and then they drop off the next month because the product isn't outstanding. Because really the by $1 million a month, not only do you continue obviously scaling traffic from paid ads and all these different marketing channels, but word of mouth is important there too. If your product's really good and people are talking about it in the market, it's gonna compound. That organic growth is gonna compound on top, and that's also how you be really profitable at $1 million a month. And this, if there's one thing to take away from the video, it's an org chart. Understanding that, especially once you start to scale up here. So especially when you're scaling past 100K, you're to 500K. I said double down here, but 500K plus, this stuff is what you really focus on. So you told me the other day that you pretty much spend most of your time just making your product more simple for your customers to understand, more digestible and easier to get results, right?
100%. Like, I think it's important to note as well that as the CEO in your business, I'm assuming if you're watching this video, the likelihood is you're either one of these two people, right? And I think it's important to note that just because you're scaling to $1 million a month doesn't mean you're out of the product, right? So that's where Kieran helped me realize that is like, I thought that these tiles were people because they have labels, but mostly it's just these two people and these, right? But there's times where the salesperson, the sales director is going to go jump into a closing call, or they're going to go jump into the setting process and call some leads. And 100%, I'm going to spend all of my time in the product, and I'm with the team, I'm with the CSMs, I'm with the coaches, and I'm actually driving the needle forward. And that's where you want to spend your time anyways, because if I realize, like, one of the biggest lessons that I've had is I'm a schizo and I like to just like get my hands into everything, but that's not good. So you should put your creative energy into the product. And then what that allows you to do, especially if you're into paid ads and stuff like that, is all the rest of your time goes into recording new ads. And then as well, you're making YouTube videos just like this. And these are really good sales assets for your potential prospects. So I personally see it like this. If you run an educational based company, your product is your YouTube, and they are perfect sales assets to send out to your potential prospects. And the sales calls are going to be like 10 times easier. And because that's where you have to see it in your brain. Like, most people see the product as like, oh, at a certain point, like it's already so good. So what I do is I find new ways to like make it faster, right, and easier for them to go through, like less painful, right? And then I extrapolate that into my marketing, and I put sales assets on YouTube. Like, hey, I just made this update. Here's the new way to do this thing.
Yeah. Okay. Let's write down here. So 500K to $1 million, because there's no space here. I know you haven't done it yet, but based on what you've learned from just getting there, what would you summarize as to $1 million a month?
Yeah, I would probably say it's just this. Like, it's just this all together.
Yeah.
And because like ultimately it just comes down to actions. Like the things that you're doing, like most people think it's this like overcomplicated like thing, but like I personally think it just boils down to your actions, because I've seen people run businesses off their phones and they're still successful because they're just doing the right things, right? If you have a business where you're simply just doing the right things and you're getting the right things done, I think it comes down to this. I want to draw like one more thing, right? It's basically like this thing that I learned at an event I paid like $6,000 in person to learn. And it's basically this concept right here. Let me see that. Yeah. So when you have like this thing, it's like a check mark right here, and then I would say a check mark right here. You want to hit this box every time, but sometimes you end up over here. I'll just uncap both of these. Hang with me, right? Boom, and then you have boom, boom, and then you have boom, boom, right? So in this first quadrant right here, you're solving the wrong problem the wrong way, right? That's where most beginners end up. Like, most of you watching this video probably aren't solving the wrong problem the wrong way, because you at least know how to solve problems if you're watching this video, because that's why you're watching this video, right? And then another very common solution for beginners is right problem, wrong way, of course. And then this is the most vile and toxic quadrant right here. Is you're solving, this is where most people get stuck, and it irks me because this is where I got stuck over the last like 7 months. And it's solving the wrong problem the right way, right? You think you're doing everything the right way, but you're simply not. And it's usually because you're ignoring the music on what you actually need to get done. It's usually like right in front of your face, right? And this is the only thing that moves you forward. If you look at like a stock chart or a payments chart of your business, it kind of like goes up like this, and then it plateaus, and then it goes up like this, and then it plateaus, and even trickles down until you fix the bottleneck. And fixing the bottleneck is simply just ending up right here. You have to first identify the correct problem that you're solving, and then the easy part, or you just oftentimes cut a check to solve it the right way. That's just simply what you have to do to scale, in my opinion.
Got it. So to just broaden out a little bit, you've met some pretty big coaches like Alex Hormozi, Sam Ovens. a few others too. Just what is the one big thing you notice from them? Because they, they've scaled, they've done everything we talk about in this video. And for some of the people in this video, they probably want to know is like from people who have scaled, really big coaching businesses. What would you say is the biggest thing you've taken away from actually meeting them in person?
This is gonna sound repetitive, but they just do this. Like they don't do any work, like any real work that you think is like a lot of people, and I don't mean it like that. I mean like most people think it's like this magic pill, but I'm not gonna say his name. But one of the most advanced people I've ever met, and he literally will like spend a couple hours like making a meme, and like he'll like send it to me, and I'm like, what is this? And he's just like, it's funny, right? Like he's just like, and he'll just do the most wild things that you think are just like, this isn't monk mode, this isn't red light therapy, this isn't like my work schedule, this isn't my Google Calendar. It's like the bell curve, right? Like he's just like working on the right things. And the reason why he could do that is because if you work on the right things, you're just miles ahead of everyone else.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, identifying the problem is in the beginning when you're first starting, the problem is just the fact that you just need to like market and sell. Like that's the easiest thing in the world. But once you get more advanced, the decision-making process becomes like an organization chart kind of thing. And personally, I'm not that type of person. That's why I have somebody under me that does that. Some people do it a little bit different, but me personally, that's where I have to, I did everything in my power not to just fix this, right? To be completely honest, my C-suite was all fucked up like come 3 months ago, right? But I had to make some really tough decisions. Sometimes the problems are right in front of you, but they're extremely emotional and you don't want to confront them. And that's one of the most unfortunate things I had to learn recently. But it's one of the things the most successful people do is they just end up solving the right problems the right way.
Right problems, right way. Like I would say, like direction is a lot more important than speed. Like doing the right thing for long enough.
Yeah, like one thing I learned from Kieran recently that I'm going to stick to, and I'm definitely going to execute on, is going on a dopamine detox. Right? I know this is a business video for business people, but like legitimately, like going on a detox where like you have no phone or no Wi-Fi for 2-3 days, and you just focus on, am I going in the right direction? Because I'll tell you that going in the wrong direction is painful. It's very extraordinarily painful, and you don't want to feel that. I promise.
So to kind of wrap this up, the last question I have is: you're scaling now. You're getting back scaling. What is the plan now? The next 12 months. Like, what are you looking to really do with the business now?
I think it's more about what am I not gonna do. That's what the big one is for me. It's like, what am I not gonna do? I'm not gonna overthink. I'm not going to do things that I'm not supposed to do. I'm not going to break the business. I'm not going to change anything that I'm currently doing. Everything I mentioned in this video is what I'm doing. I'm sticking to it for the next 5 years, right? At the very minimum 5 years, right? It's more about, like a lot of people ask themselves, like, what am I going to do? It's actually more about like, what am I not going to do? What am I not going to give into?
So basically, to summarize, it's not like cutting out distractions. That's what you mean. Like as entrepreneurs too, especially as like people, if you're watching this, like most coaches as well, they have that kind of schizo brain where they freaking love what they sell. Yeah. Like they love what they sell. And what happens is you kind of start to overthink, you start to overanalyze, you start to move too many chips onto the table that avoids you from making any sort of progress. I mean, we can look at it as like one straight line, and then like there's all these like side quests that move the line left and right, so you just don't go as fast. And that's why I mentioned like direction is way more important than speed. If you just go in a straight line and you just go up pretty consistently instead of up and down, that is a better route than just going consistently up. And that's why I say if you're doing the right thing for long enough, you'll just have that consistent growth instead of what I see in this industry is people get to 500K a month, 1 million a month, up, and then like the next month they're down, and then the next month is worse and worse and worse. So, I mean, that seems like what you're trying to do. It's just more consistent, steady growth over a long duration of time instead of like the up and downs inconsistency.
I think the up and downs and inconsistency comes to the loss of your impulse control when you reach new heights. You forget the real mission. That's one thing that happened to me is I forgot my mission at scale, and it became more about me getting to $1 million a month in the next 2 months rather than me focusing on the mission of how can I impact more people. I would have made way better decisions if I put my mission in front of my personal selfish goals, 100%, and that would have helped me do what I shouldn't have done. I would have prevented more decisions rather than indulged in more decisions to try to scale.
I think that's the best place to wrap up the video. It's
100%.
been a good one. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.